You are now tuned in to Two Studs in a Pod with the dynamic duo of Blaze and Meech, a podcast giving you a candid glimpse into the world of super terrific Uber dykes, but you can call us studs. This week, we're tackling the once taboo subject of stud for stud relationships. We're getting into how we were first introduced to stud for stud, why the black LGBTQ plus community reacts to these pairings the way they do, and why these types of relationships are becoming more common. Now let's get into it. Meech, drop the beat. Welcome back to Two Studs in a Pod, good people. You already know it's Blaze.
And the homie Meech.
This week, we're diving into the highly anticipated topic of stud for stud. But you already know, before we get into all that, let's get personal. Meech, fill us in on what's been happening with you this week.
This week we've been in quarantine. Corona is keeping us all locked up, but I've been working from home, so I can't complain. I'm still making money. I'm lucky to be able to do my job from home. Finished the book 10% happier. That's what it was called. I misspoke last week. It was a pretty good book. The audio was hard to listen to, even though the guy is like a newscaster. Listening to him read was kind of difficult.
Is
Um,
monotone or something?
yeah, he was like monotone. I couldn't. It was hard, but I made it through. I had to put it on speed. I had to speed it up. Yeah, but other than that, I'm in a new spot, so I'm excited about that.
Are you all settled and stuff?
Yeah, still doing some unpacking.
Mm.
We had to do all that packing shit, but we downsized, so there's less stuff to unpack. Way more comfortable here. My spot, it feels like a little studio, like a music studio. So I'm loving that. And that's about it. Life's good, wifey's good. What's been going on with you?
Nothing much. Like you on lockdown, feeling like we dodged a bullet. Seeing as how our cruise was like right before the major blow up of
Right.
the Rona. So we possibly escaped, you know, some some bad vibes. But other than that, been trying to just keep myself busy. The NBA is shut down, so there goes all
Yeah.
my basketball watching, and that kind of put a dent in my after work activities. So I actually have been doing some stuff around the yard, stuff that I've been meaning to do. So just to get me outside, get the dog outside, since we are all inside all day working. I normally work from home anyway, so it's not really that much of a change. But trying to get outside, get some more sun, and stay away from people as much as possible. Um, and we pretty much had all those things already. Like the most we needed was like groceries and stuff. So while everybody was going crazy and things like that, we didn't really have to freak out. We just
Right.
became more concerned about the things that we normally needed to re up on. It was time
Hmm.
for those things, and that was a lot of stuff that people were hoarding. Like
Yeah.
bath soap. Like take a bath and stuff like that. It was and laundry soap. It was already that time for us to re up, and that was so that was a little scary, but we were able to get supplies and stuff. We just been living, and we stay to ourselves, and we try not to. What sucks is that it's my birthday month, so I won't be able to go around
Yeah.
family and stuff because we don't want to bring any germs or anything like that to my mom or anything because she's old. So yeah, that's about it. I'm installing stepping stone pavers in my backyard,
Oh,
like a little pathway,
okay. Doing your
because there
stud
was like
duties.
a little gap where the dog could fit under, or at least wifey was very concerned that the dog might fit under there. So
Gotcha.
I had to. I'm moving dirt and grass and acting like I know what I'm doing.
YouTube it and then do it.
Yeah, basically YouTube, read, and pray for the best. I'm like, what's the worst that can happen is we have to dig it up and have somebody do it the right way,
Right.
but whatever. And like the hardest part is trying to get everything straight because I'm like so gay. It's very hard to get anything straight. So we're gonna see how this turns out. I mean, I feel confident. It looks pretty decent. So I got
Yeah.
half of it done. I got the other half to do, and I've just been trying to do a little bit by little after work, and try not to kill my back, but
Yeah.
because age, you start feeling those pains.
For real.
But I mean, other than that, I can't really complain. I'm wondering if since I won't get to celebrate my birthday properly, can I consider this like a gap year and not count this year of my age and skip this one and I'll just go
If
back?
only.
I just stay the same age until next year. I'm gonna
I mean,
file
you
a
could
petition and
literally
see how that goes.
right, do whatever you want. This is 2020 is like just a guessing game.
Man, for real. And we're only in March.
Yes.
So who knows what the rest of the year holds? I mean, geez, it's just,
I feel like it can only get better, but
I mean, for
don't wanna
real at
jinx
this
it,
point.
you know?
But
Yeah.
just concerned because like my sister had a big trip planned with her family, go to
Oh,
Disney, and it was like something very special for them. And it's not till like May, but it could still be canceled. And
mhm.
schools are closed, and you know.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'm blessed to already have a work from home situation, so I'm not really losing out on anything, or my life hasn't really changed that much, except for even extra conscious when we go out to the store and things like that.
Right.
But that's about it. Well, now that we've gotten all caught up on all things new and exciting, let's jump right in. So, Meech, your thoughts on stuff or stuff relationships and that whole situation. Like, why do you think that it's so taboo in the LGBT community, LGBTQ plus community, especially among people of color, that stuff or stuff relationships are so taboo?
I think it's taboo because, you know, I guess it goes into like last week's conversation,
Mm.
how we kind of put gender roles on, each
Like each party in a
and
relationship.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So it's like in a stud for stud, like how does that work? But I don't know, I'm not really sure why it's taboo. I just like from my perspective, I don't get it, At the end of the day, I guess, we're all women, so I guess it makes sense, but like I just feel like, who's the more aggressive one? Like how like I don't know how that dynamic works. I'm not sure about it. And I think that's kind of how people on the outside looking in look at it. But like we said in other non-color people, we see it all the time. So I guess it works for them. I'm not sure why there's such a stigma against stud for stud. I just know it's not for me.
Well, I mean, yeah, I concur there, but I also agree that I think that people, it's taboo for people because they do want to be able to place people in certain roles, like you said, carrying off of the conversation that we were having last week, that they do want people to be the dominant one and the submissive one. Like since that's
Right.
what we've always known, like the man is dominant, the woman is submissive. Masculine dominant, feminine submissive, however you want to put that if you're not able to break that down into those roles, which you're typically not when it's a stuff or stud or match for match relationship, then that is why people look at it the way that they do. Like you hear a lot of studs be like, "Oh, that's gay," like, but you
Right.
are gay, right?
Right.
So that's why it's always funny to me. I mean, even myself, I've been guilty of saying that. Like, I would never date a stud. Oh, that's gay. And I think, I mean, I don't know, for so much for myself, it was because I need that role in my life, but it's just I'm not attracted to studs. It's just I understand that they're women, and if you take all of our clothes off, we all have the same parts and similar shapes for the most part. Especially if you've been with somebody for a long time, then you really
Right.
start having similar shapes. But I I don't know. It's just something about the way that a feminine woman is and that she carries herself and like the fact that she does put on makeup and she wears heels and when they're wearing those tight fitting jeans that just fitting just right,
Yeah.
like it's just something about that I've never seen a stud who we could who's rocking fly J's and wearing, great jeans and a
Yeah.
nice shirt. I've never been like, damn, I would hit that. That never happened. I
Yeah,
do
that
think
yeah.
that inability to be able to put you in a box, for lack of better terms, maybe is what contributes to the discrimination, and why that doesn't carry over to non people of color. I'm not sure because you see that a lot in the
I guess
Caucasian,
butches.
right?
Yeah, what we would describe as butches or what box they would fit in.
And maybe they don't feel like they're butches. Maybe they're just
Yeah.
they just got a short haircut,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've seen straight women with that same haircut and thought for
especially if they're from the
sure
middle of the country.
thought for sure that was a lesbian, but
Right.
I've been wrong. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like it feels like it should be okay. It's still two women together. We're lesbians. There should be no reason for us to discriminate against lesbians. We all receive enough discrimination as it is.
Right.
But for me, I just can't grasp it because, like you said, I'm attracted to the feminine women. But whatever floats their boat. I think as long as they're happy, they're treating each other well, then that's cool. But I'm always curious, so I'd be interested to know like how the gender roles do work in that situation, and is it like are you attracted to the fitted and the baggy jeans, or the t-shirts and the J's, and is that what attracts you to another stud? Like as a stud, are you really attracted to that, or is it like the personality gets you, and then from there you're just like fuck it, and it's not really a physical thing?
Do you think that because gay men, black gay men, they'll have two verse guys can be together because they can
Uh huh.
switch hit, like
Yeah,
so and there's not really that kind of a stigma in their situation, their circle
that's true.
where they're at, where there is when it's two mask women together. Also, when it's two femme women together, like even heterosexual accept two femme women,
Hmm.
we accept two femme women as together. But when it's two studs or two mask women, the whole world is like, ew, that's gay. you know?
Yeah.
And there's apparently a very large conglomerate of studs that are attracted to other studs.
I did not know that. I have never seen any stud for stud couples of color, and I actually ended up YouTubing it, and I saw like a couple, a Hispanic and a black female that were a couple, and even in that situation, I didn't watch too much of it, but I still felt like one of them was a little more feminine, maybe like a soft stud. So I
Right.
could see how that could possibly work, but I've never really seen two very like masculine looking studs, or just presenting studs, that the way they talked and the way they acted together.
Right. Because there's like nothing about a stud that's or a butch or a dyke or AG or whatever you call yourself, and you're a masculine presenting woman that is attractive to me as a
Yeah.
stud. So
Yeah.
I don't understand that part of the attraction. And like you said, I would be very curious to know, like, are you attracted to that look, like the way that I'm attracted to seeing a nice lady in some nice in nice
The
sundress.
way I look at Beyonce,
Right. All
it's
right.
not the way that
Right.
I look at Jay.
Right,
you
exactly.
know?
So, and I mean, I've seen Jay many times. Like, I believe that man can make a white T-shirt look like it's worth $1 million. but and I have a great love for Dwayne Wade, but I never like that's how I look at them as men is how I look at other studs
Studs.
that
Right.
even I admire their whatever they're what they're wearing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to sleep with them.
Right.
And
Right.
even if they did take their clothes off, I saw something and I can't recall what it is, but now this vision is burned into my memory forever where it's a stud, but like naked, a naked stud
Oh
with a
God.
fitted on. So the face looks like a stud, but the body looked like a woman. And I just couldn't, I don't know. I just couldn't get past the fitted hat. And I
The
do
fitted and
find
the
feminine
lineup.
women in fitted hats sexy if it's worn right. But just I can't. I don't know. There's something about stud. Like we could be homies, we could be friends, but to sleep with you, I don't know. That's why I remember when I was young, like my friend, may she rest in peace. That when we first started hanging out, my mom, I came out to my mom or whatever, and she doesn't know the dynamic of stud femme, butch femme, whatever.
Right.
So when she saw me with my friend, who was this little butch girl with me, and we're hanging out, she thought we were interested in each other because we're both gay. And I'm like, no, mom, that's not exactly how this
Yeah.
works in this situation. I don't know. I mean, I think you said it already, but you've never been interested in pursuing a stuff or stuff relationship.
No, it's just not for me. I mean, everything you said, it's same way I pretty much feel. Like I like, you know, what feminine women like. I like the makeup. I like that fact that they do their hair, different styles. They wear it
Mm-hmm.
long. I like the jewelry that they wear. I like the makeup they wear.
And the
I
way they
just like the way they
smell,
dress.
like
Yeah, the
perfume
way they
versus
smell. Right.
cologne, right?
Right. Right. That's
Yeah.
another thing too. Like I don't want you smelling like me. Like I
Like we're
want to smell
sharing
that fruity
cologne.
shit. Yeah.
I can't.
For
Like,
real.
and then
We
talking
can't
about
walk out
wearing
the house
sharing
smelling the same.
clothes, like, yeah.
Right. I don't know, but I'm from New York, right? So the women out
Mm-hmm.
here, it's cold all the time, so we don't get to see the sundresses too often.
Right.
Um, but even when the feminine chicks out here have on their tight jeans and their J's, like that still is attractive as fuck to
Mm-hmm.
me. Like, I would be like, damn, shorty's bad
Mm-hmm.
in some jeans and some J's, but
Mm-hmm.
like if it was a stud, it's just different. It's just like, nah, I can't get with that.
Like, damn, homie, nice kicks.
Right, yeah. Like, where'd you get those from,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Like they never have
I
my
can I
size.
can appreciate, a put together person regardless of who it is, like a
Right.
male, female,
Right.
stud, femme, but as far as being attracted to that, that's, even, like you said, when the clothes do come off, I can't unsee the shape up. I can't unsee the fade.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm a visual person, so like this is I don't know.
And I think
Like I
maybe it's just me, but I feel like your body mannerisms and everything just are different when you're a masculine woman
yeah,
naturally. Because like me being me is not forced, you being you is not forced, but I've had so many people tell me that I'll even walk like a guy. It's not that I've ever tried or never like studied guys and learned how they walk. I just walk how I walk. And wifey walks how she walks. So she kills it in heels, whereas I feel like I kill it in a pair of nice Jordans.
right. I'd kill myself in some heels.
Right. I mean,
Right.
I don't even remember when was the last time I wore a dress.
Oh
So,
wow.
and then another aspect of the stuff or studs situation that leaves me a little bit confused and wondering is like when you sleep together. I mean, it's the natural, I don't want to say order of things, but the natural order of things is for the stud to
Mhm.
strap up and
Right.
for the femme to take the strap.
Right.
So, and it's just that's like an assumed situation when you're in a relationship with somebody, or a stud and a femme are going to sleep with each other. And when it's a femme and a femme, they oftentimes do something double sided or take turns. So there's an answer for that. But what about when it's a stuff or stuff relationship? Do they also take turns strapping each other up? And
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I
I
mean, that could be possible. I've seen so many like studs that try to play that masculine role too hard
mhm.
that they probably will deny who they really are, and then later on I'll hear about like them sleeping with dudes or something like that because they're too embarrassed to say that they like something specific, like so maybe that's why they end up getting with other studs because they do like the strap. I don't know, like that's just a theory of mine, but I have no idea how that works. Or maybe one like a little bit softer than the other. I have no idea. Or maybe they don't even do that. Who
I mean, yes,
knows?
there's tons of ways for um, lesbians to have sex, more than just
Lucky us.
and last for more than 5 minutes. So,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's those were like some of my when I first heard about and learned about stuff for stud. That was definitely something that crossed my mind. That situation and like who asked who to marry them first,
Who
and those just
initiates
right.
the sex too?
Well, I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, my relationship is either way. If wifey's drunk, then we already know how that's
Yeah.
going down.
Feel you.
Uh, so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting situation. I don't know. Now that I'm more mature, that I would shy away from anybody who was stuff or stud. I'm actually very curious to know like what is the attraction. I know why I'm attracted to feminine women, and what that feels like, and I know how I feel when I see another stud that I don't think I could ever be attracted to that person, even when I find out that like when they're a switcher, like they switch between boy clothes and girls clothes. They're somewhere in the middle, more of a tomboy, and those aren't people that are even attractive to me usually. I mean, there's so many weird in every bunch that maybe tickles your pickle a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, that's just never been an attraction for me. And I've been liking girls for a very, very, very long time.
I don't know.
Why do you think? I mean, like you said, there's YouTube couples, and on Instagram there's a lot, on Facebook there's a lot. There's more and more stuff or stud like groups, and a little community forming of studs that are stuff or stud. There was also a movie that I watched. The same difference, I want to say that it was called. I believe it was on Netflix. That had some stuff or stud. Address some stuff or stud things within it. So I believe that thoughts and feelings are slowly changing, but they are
Definitely.
changing amongst the LGBT community and people of color, specifically on stuff or stuff relationships. I mean, have you seen the same thing? Like, how do you feel the community is still shunning them as much, or it's becoming more accepting?
I would hope that it's becoming more accepting just overall in the community, and like you said, there are a lot more groups and stuff popping up. I haven't really personally met anybody, but I've seen a lot more groups, a lot more hashtags, just being online and stuff. A lot more people talking about it. So, I think it's a good thing. If people want to live their truth and be happy, then just let them. Like at the end of the day, why are we gonna bash people who are fighting for the same rights as us?
Right. We're already marginalized. Why, we're marginalized and very small in
Yeah.
comparison. So why uh, dwindle our numbers just because it's something that we don't understand? That's a little hypocritical, I think,
Right.
for us to do that. People who enjoy stuff or stuff relationships. And just because you do one stuff or stuff relationship, I don't think that labels you as a stuff or stud person.
Mhm.
Sometimes people are just attracted to they're just attracted to somebody, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I also wonder if I saw something doing research for this episode and reading different posts and through different comments and things like that, that it's possible that there's just a lack of available femme women out there,
Yeah, maybe.
and which is causing more studs to seek out other studs. I mean, we're all women regardless of how we label ourselves,
Hmm.
and so if you like pussy, you like pussy, and maybe you just don't care how it's wrapped if there's no other, you know, entrees available. You got to eat what's you got to eat what's there sometimes.
I mean,
I
I
mean, I
get
don't know.
that. I get that, you know,
I haven't
because
been.
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I haven't been out there for a while, so I don't know. Is there a lack of available femme women out there?
I think so, you know, because I was single for like a while, like a couple years, and most of the women I dated were like straight women.
Mm,
You know, for other reasons too, because you know, strippers. I was in Miami,
right.
you know. I was just you know, I was just messing with whoever, but you know, there wasn't ever like any. I don't recall there being too many available lesbians. Like even when we would go out, everybody would be booed up in the club, or the available lesbians would be like probably other studs or women that just weren't my type,
Right.
you know. So maybe it's a they're settling kind of thing, you know. I'm trying to think. The last relationship was a while ago before this one, maybe like 6 years, and in 6 years, you know, like I was just you know messing around with straight women, and you know that leads to a lot of drama and situationships and shit like that, you know.
Mm,
So I had never really considered a relationship again until I came back to New York and I actually found a lesbian that was like dope, and you know she had her own thing going for her. I think that's another thing also, you know, like you know you might not necessarily want somebody that you have to take care of or somebody who has
mm,
no ambition.
mm,
And I'm not saying that all femmes are like that, but in my experience in dating over the past like 10 years, I would say I ran into a lot of that, which is why I was also, you know, very picky and why I chose to deal with straight women or quote unquote bisexual or women who were like, you know, straight for the moment. A lot of situationships like that, but I rather deal with that because I knew it wasn't gonna last than to get into a relationship with a lesbian who was just gonna bring me more problems, more drama. I would have to, you know, I'm have to end up taking care of her. She doesn't cook, she doesn't clean, you know, she doesn't do anything. Like, why do I need you?
mm.
You know? So I'm that could be a factor. You know, I'm just speaking from my experiences, but that still didn't lead me to, you know, want to date another stud. I was just like, I'll deal with the bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. And if you're a stud and you're attracted to other studs, and don't be ashamed of it either. Live in
Right,
your truth, and it just is what it is. You are gay, you are a lesbian, you are part of this community, and you deserve to find love too. There's no reason to be ashamed of being stuff or stud. I don't get putting that kind of stigma on people. But if it is because of the lack of feminine women in your area, which would mean you're probably not willing to do a long distance relationship because there's the internet. But uh, don't settle either. Like
right,
living your truth, but don't settle just because that person is what or who's available in your vicinity or in your desired geographical location.
right.
And you know, um, I I I don't know if I've ever. Oh no, I was gonna say I don't know if I've ever seen a stuff or stud relationship in person, but I have. At Pride, this past Pride in Orlando, I there was a ton of people out there. It's probably one of the biggest prides I've been to, and there was some stuff. So there were some interesting characters out there. Period.
Hmm.
So, but there was definitely some stuff and stuff. And growing up, I had some friends. She would consider herself more of a STEM,
Okay.
right? And she dated. a person who I would consider a STEM,
Oh,
and
okay.
both of them were together. Or yeah, but they were more on the masculine side than the femi side
Mhm.
in their dress, at least. And they dated each other, and so I saw that in person. But they weren't like a stud for stud or a bush for butch. But the most I've seen are Caucasian people where you can't tell if when it is feminine they just have a short boxy cut like a gym teacher.
Right.
But
Gym teacher.
yeah,
Yeah. I wonder why,
but
like why it's more accepted um for the Caucasian people.
I don't
Cuz
know. And I
whenever I see it, I don't think twice about it. It just
right.
I feel like I've always seen that.
I don't know. Sometimes Wifey and I will see them and we're like, so who's on top? when like which one's on top? And I'm like, maybe they take turns, switch 69. There's a bunch of different ways you can
Yeah.
get her done. You know what I'm saying?
You're done.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, and I hate, so many people asked us about our thoughts on stuff or stud, and I mean, my thoughts are do what makes you happy as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else. Then
Right.
I don't see why it even matters what other people think. If you and your boo are happy and you both like to wear Tims and jeans and fitted, I think that's what you guys wear in New York, right?
Yeah.
then,
You got it.
then have at it. Like, why not? Just
Right.
because people don't understand, do you? They'll catch up.
Yeah, facts. And it goes back to the whole gender roles thing too, because maybe they just dress like that, and then in the house they act, more
Right.
feminine. One of them acts more feminine or does the more feminine thing. So yeah, just living your truth and do what makes you happy. Fuck what everybody got to say.
That's right. Fuck them. Now it's time for Too Many Peas in the Pod, the portion of the podcast where we share and answer some of the questions and comments we've received from our listeners. Now let's get into it.
Question.
Our question comes from Jay, who says, I'm a stud, and I get called Mr. or Sir all the time when I'm out in public. I try not to let it get to me, but it really irks me sometimes because I am not a man and I don't want to be a man. I listen to your show talking about getting called sir a lot. So I guess what I want to know is, does it offend you when someone calls you sir? Or how do you deal with it? And by the way, I love the podcast and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much. We appreciate the feedback.
Yes, we do.
We do it for you. I don't know. I guess Meech, you can't really,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. When you had your shortcut, did you ever bump into the sir
Um
situation, or were you called Mister or anything like that?
I think when people saw me from the back, I was probably called sir, but I
Mm-hmm.
really don't remember it, so I don't really want to speak on it because it was probably very few times. I know it happens to you a lot more.
Yeah, it happens to me like every day, whether I'm face to face or over the phone or through the talkie thing at the drive through
The
when you're
talky
ordering
thing.
food. Like every time. Most recently it happened actually while we were on the cruise, and but that's because we haven't really gone anywhere because we've been trying to stay social distance away from people, social distancing. And but while we were on the cruise, um I was in line to get my omelet made.
Mhm.
And wifey was there. She was like a person ahead of me. And the guy goes, "Excuse me, sir, what would you like on your omelet?" And I think I've said this before, but it's happened to me so many times that I just kind of, I just go with the flow. I just ignore it. Like, why do I care what the little omelet maker guy thinks that I'm a dude? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I just want my omelet, and please don't put any pork in it. That's great.
Did you
And
get did you used to get offended initially?
um, what used to offend me for the most part was like getting chased out the bathroom.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm like, sir, what were you doing in the women's bathroom?
Uh-huh.
But that was like young. Like I was 15, 16. I can remember vividly being in, um, I wasn't driving yet. So, I mean, I was on the county and, I stopped in a Publix to use the restroom
Mm-hmm.
and I just went in there innocently to do what I had to do.
Right.
And when I'm walking out, the manager is chasing me out of the Publix
Oh, wow.
and like yelling at me in front of everybody, asking me why was I in the women's bathroom. And I'm like,
That's wild.
because I'm a girl. And then of course everybody always apologizes profusely and profusely. I can't say that word. And um, then they all feel bad and everything like that. But nowadays, like all these years later and all these experiences later, I just shrug it off. Like I said before, if people don't know me, they don't care about me, then they're gonna see a sir because they see the short hair and the large build, and they think a man automatically,
Mm-hmm.
even if my chest is like right there in their face, and it's obvious that this is probably not a man's chest,
Right.
but they still see sir, and I just deal with it by ignoring it and brushing it off and keeping it moving. I mean, it depends on how you feel. If you feel offended by it and you feel not, I don't want to say confrontational because it sounds like you're going to want to fight, but people do need to know that we're out here too. And I struggle with that. Like when they call me sir, should I correct them? Because they need to know that not all of us are sirs
Right.
and there are women out here that look the way that I do and they don't want to be called sir.
Right.
But I mean, as for your question, Jay, I would just, like I said, it doesn't offend me anymore. And eventually it probably won't offend you, hopefully. And you just ignore it and keep living your life and correct them if you feel like it or not. It's really up to you. I mean, I can't tell you what's going to offend you or even make you feel better when you're out in public and you get called sir. But just try not to get into any violent fights about it. And on that note, you already know if you need a little more stud in your life, you can find us on IG and Twitter at 2studs in a pod. That's where you find some of our stud related content. Please feel free to send us any and all feedback you have on the podcast or future topic ideas you would like us to cover. If you have any questions or comments, you can slide in the DMs or shoot us an email at 2studsinapod@gmail.com. That's TWO studsinapod@gmail.com. Please note that we may select your question or comment to share on an upcoming episode. You can find 2 Studs in a Pod on podcast platforms everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. And with that, we say that gratitude is always the attitude. So we want to say thank you for lending us your ear.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.